All right, so let's talk real quickly about what happened yesterday with Don Lemon. CNN ex-formal journalist, whoever, whatever he is. He talks very proudly about being a gay black man married to some white man. Anyway, those are the facts. And what's also a fact is that this man apparently went into a church, right? And I'm just kind of shaking my head talking about this because uh, he followed this mob of people, and whether or not he wired them up, I don't know. But he went into this church and protested, and you can see the people protesting, talking about hands up, don't shoot, all this crazy stuff in a church, not at a government facility, not in front of the White House or in Congress. Like nothing like that. These people were protesting, whether it was these Minnesota ICE raids, these arrests, protesting God, whatever. They went into a church, man. And honestly, you can hear it in my voice, you can see it in my face. I don't know what to say, but because I have a small platform, I'm compelled to say something. And it's this. First thing I want to say, and actually the only thing I want to say, is I want to speak to the church. And here's why I want to speak to the church. Because Christians, by and large, are mandated by Scripture to speak to each other about corrective action, about behavior. Peter talks about judgment begins at the house of God. So we're in charge of each other. What the world does really is none of my business. How unbelievers act is really none of my business. My business is the church. Your business is the church. So how do we respond to the Don Lemons of the world marching into a church and just going crazy? I've seen 1,000 videos and a half, and it feels like, obviously, as myself, everyone has opinion, they have a take. And I think the one that bothers me the most is the one, and I say this carefully, folks. The one that bothers me the most is the one where people are saying, man, if they came up to my church, they'd get beat up. And while I don't know how I would personally act if protests happened at my church, and if I was preaching and they just bombarded my congregation, I don't know how I would act. But I know what I would try to do, and that was, and maybe this is just a drug counselor in me, I don't know. Working at a prison, right? I would try to diffuse the situation. And how I would do that, again, I don't know, because I'd have to be there. But here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't rant and rave and rail against the world and, just get crazy about it. I would actually rejoice. I would actually be thankful that I would be partaking in the sufferings of Christ. Because again, if you're a Christian, you understand that what they did to Jesus, they're going to do to you. They being the world. They being a government. They being even nominal Christians. Ruben, what's a nominal Christian? A Christian in name only. A fake Christian. Jesus says that all these things were going to happen. So when they do, we're told in Peter, rejoice. In fact, Paul tells us in Philippians, to you it has been granted not only to believe in Jesus, but to suffer for his sake. So again, while I don't know what I would do in the moment, I know I wouldn't, or I would try my best not to rail and get crazy and get violent. While some of us would probably be like Peter and take up the sword and chop off somebody's ear, we're told to rejoice. We're told to expect it. And in those moments, after those moments, we're going to see the glory of God. We're going to see, because again, if you track the annals of church history, the church grows exponentially under persecution. The church never grows under comfort. The church never grows at the mountaintop. The church grows in the valley during the storm. So the storm is coming, folks. In fact, the storm is here. So rejoice. Be glad. Because it's in the storm that God is most glorified, and it's in the storm that your growth is most pronounced. So God bless you guys. Remember, the world hated Jesus. It's going to hate us. And we're supposed to rejoice. God bless you.